All right, in this explainer, we're going to take some of your most basic ideas about success, happiness, and just the world itself, and we're going to flip them completely upside down. So get ready.
Just listen to this from our source material. Losing is gaining, and gaining is losing. It sounds like a total riddle, right? But this paradox is the absolute heart of the philosophy we're diving into today.
So, what on earth does a paradox like that actually mean? Well, it's an invitation. It's asking you to look at the world by flipping everything you think you know on its head, to consider the exact opposite of what seems obvious. Okay, let's bring this down to earth a bit. We can apply this inverted thinking to things most of us chase after. Goals like wealth, power, and health. But what if our common sense about all this stuff is just wrong? First up, money. We're all basically taught that having more money leads to more happiness and easier life. Simple, right? But this philosophy says, hold on, what if more money actually leads to more trouble? It really makes you second guess that automatic link between a big bank account and a happy life. And you see the same exact logic when it comes to power. The conventional idea is that power gives you security, control. But from this inverted point of view, the more power you get, the more danger you put yourself in. That very hunt for control could be the thing that brings risk right to your doorstep. And how about health? You'd think that eating the best, richest, most delicious food is the key to being healthy. But inverted thinking flips that too. It suggests that what looks like wonderful abundance can actually be really, really bad for you. Okay, so if our normal way of thinking about success might be flawed, then what is it that keeps us so locked into these patterns? Well, the source text we're looking at suggests we're all tied down by invisible chains. Now, before I show you the examples from the text, just take a second and ask yourself this. Seriously, what are the invisible ropes in your life that might be holding you in place? According to this philosophy, even something as wonderful and positive as family can become one of those tethers, binding our choices because of what's expected of us as parents, or spouses, or children. Next up is tradition. Think about all the unwritten rules and social norms that we follow, a lot of the time without even thinking about it. Those can put some serious limits on how we think and what we do. Oh, and this is a big one, reputation. That constant pressure to keep up a certain image, a certain status, the fear of what other people will think of us can be one of the strongest ropes holding us back. And finally, our very own beliefs. The source points out how a deeply religious person might be tied to their creed, or how a political activist might be tied to their party's platform, and in the process, their perspective gets smaller. And this all leads to a really powerful metaphor. The idea is that we are like a huge, powerful elephant, held back by nothing more than a thin little rope. A rope that we only believe we can't break. Our limitations, in other words, are often just in our heads. So, we've been exploring this really fascinating idea, right? Well, it's not just a random collection of contrarian thoughts. It actually has a name, and it's part of a whole philosophical framework. So, the method we've been talking about is officially called inverted thinking, or in Chinese, Den Dao Si Wei. It's this deliberate practice of flipping logic on its head to get a much deeper look at how the world really works. But within its original home, this concept is formally known as Hun Dun thinking. That's Hun Dun Si Wei. And this is a central idea in a larger spiritual and philosophical system called Lifechanyuan. Now, to really get what Hundun thinking is all about, you've got to understand that it's not just some clever mental trick. It's actually part of a much, much bigger worldview, one with its own specific cosmology. And this worldview has its own unique concepts. For instance, it talks about a single greatest creator, a spiritual goal called the second home, and these enlightened beings known as Chanyuan celestials, who are said to live in a celestial realm. These aren't just random words. They build the entire foundation for why this inverted thinking is so important in this philosophy. The cosmology also lays out this hierarchy of spiritual worlds that a soul can climb through, like the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the ultimate goal, the Elysium world. So the whole point within the system is to keep progressing, and inverted thinking is seen as this essential tool for breaking free from all the earthly things that hold you back. Whew, we have been on quite a journey here, haven't we? From questioning what success even is to thinking about the invisible chains in our lives. So now, let's bring it all back home, back to you. I'll leave you with this one final thought. Take a good, honest look at those thin ropes in your own life, the beliefs you are most certain about. What do you think you might find if, just as an experiment, you decided to turn one of them completely, totally upside down?